Welcome to the VS1680 Turbo Start video. I'm Laura Tyson, Digital Recording Product Specialist for Roland. In this video, we'll cover the basic operation of the VS1680 Digital Studio Workstation, including mixer functions, recording, using effects, and editing. For best results, please view this entire video at least once. Then, to find specific topics quickly, here's a table of contents with time references. For a general overview of the basic concepts of hard disk recording, please call Roland at 1-800-386-7575 and request a free copy of the booklet, An Introduction to Hard Disk Recording. Let's get started by setting up the VS1680. Make sure the 1680 is off, then attach the power cord. Connect the 1680's monitor outputs to the input of your audio system. If you are not using any microphones which require phantom power, switch the phantom power off before turning on the VS1680. Switch on the power. Once the VS1680 is finished booting up, you'll see this display. This is called the playlist. Use the contrast knob to adjust the display clarity. Before proceeding with this video, let's take a moment to study the layout of the VS1680 to familiarize yourself with the location of different buttons. Throughout this tutorial, we'll refer to the Input Select buttons, Track Select buttons, Track Status buttons, Edit Solo button, Cursor buttons, Time Value dial, Enter Yes and Exit No buttons, Shift button, Page button, Function buttons, Play Display button, and the transport controls. Every VS1680 comes with songs already recorded on it. Use these demo songs to get familiar with basic operations. The demo songs were saved using a feature called Song Protect, which means you won't be able to make any edits or save any changes. Later in this video, we'll show you how to erase these songs if you need to free up additional disk space. To begin playback, put all the faders to the 0 dB mark and keep the monitor level knob turned all the way down. Press play, then slowly turn the monitor knob up to get a comfortable listening level. To solo a track, hold down Shift and press the Edit Solo button. It will begin to blink. Solo mode is now enabled. Press the Select button above the track fader you wish to solo. You can even solo more than one track at a time. When you are done, hold down Shift and press Edit Solo again to turn off the solo mode. Press Play Display to return to the playlist. You can also mute tracks while the song is playing. During playback, press the status button once for the track you wish to mute. The LED will go out and that track is now muted. Press the status button again to make it green. That track is now playing back. The VS1680 provides 64 different locators. The locators are organized in 8 banks, with 8 locators in each bank. Press any of the lit locators that are already programmed into the demo song to instantly jump to a different time in the song. You don't need to press stop before going to a different locator. To select a different locator bank, press Bank. The locators are now used to select one of the 8 banks. Press a locator to select a different bank. To place a locator, press any that is not lit. To get back to a locator, simply press it again. To clear a locator, press and hold Clear and press the locator button. Let's look at the basic methods for getting around in the VS1680. First, the Shift button. Press and hold the Shift button whenever you want to use any command indicated on the VS1680 by a white outlined box. For example, Song End. To locate to the end of your song, hold Shift while you press the Fast Forward button. Next are the Select buttons. Press the Select button for either a track or an input to view all mixer settings. Once in this screen, use one of two ways to move around. You can use either the cursor buttons located above the dial, or you can use the function buttons. Use cursor buttons to move within the mixer display. For example, press the Select button for track 8. Press the right-hand cursor button to move to the pan setting. Use the left and down cursors to move to the Effects 1 switch. Or you can use the function buttons to instantly jump to a setting. The label for each of the function buttons appears in the bottom of the LCD. Press F1 Pan to move the cursor instantly to the pan setting. If you are looking for a particular function name but it does not appear in the display, press the Page button. For example, to find the function button for Effect 3, press Page. Each time you press Page, different commands appear above the function buttons. Press Page until you find the function you're looking for. Use the time value dial to change a value inside the page. From this point, I'll just call it the dial. While in the EQ section, let's use the dial to change the frequency of the high EQ in real time. Most mixer settings can be made while the VS1680 is playing. If the Enter button is blinking, press it for more information. For example, when making changes to the EQ of a track, press the blinking Enter button to bring up the EQ curve. Finally, press Play Display to return back to the playlist display. Anytime you're in the middle of making a setting and you want to get back to the playlist display, just press this. It helps to think of the Play Display button as an escape button. The VS1680 provides 4 different display screens. This one shows levels and the V-Track status display. Hold down Shift and press Play Display to switch the display. This one clears the V-Track status display. This one shows song information and the V-Track status display. This one shows song information without the V-Track status display. Let's go back to the display that shows levels. You can also switch between viewing signal levels and fader positions. Press Page, then F5. This shows faders and panning positions. You can view faders and panning for the inputs by pressing F2, or you can view faders and panning for the tracks by pressing F1. Press F5 Meter. This shows the level meters. The meters can show levels for either the inputs by pressing F2 or for the tracks by pressing F1. You can also view the meters as either pre-fader or post-fader. Press F4 to toggle back and forth between pre- and post-fader levels. The current level setting is labeled either pre or post in the lower left corner of the level display. Let's take a quick tour of the track mixer display. Press the Select button for track 8. This screen shows all of the mixer settings for track 8 in one simple display. In this screen, you can change all the settings for a track, including virtual tracks, 3-band EQ, panning, and the routing for all 4 effects. Let's take a closer look at virtual tracks. To do so, we'll use the demo song, Take Me Away. If the VS1680 is playing, press Stop before changing songs. Hold down Shift and press F1, Song. This brings up the Song menu. Here we can do things like select an existing song, create a new song, or name a song. Let's select a song. press F1 Select. If you don't see Select in the display, press Page until it appears above F1, then press F1. Use the dial to select the song Take Me Away. Press F4 Execute. The display shows Select Song Sure? Press Yes. The song will take a moment to load. Each of the VS1680's tracks has 16 different virtual tracks. Virtual tracks can be used to record multiple takes of a part, to try a different vocalist, or to build your own composite tracks. This demo song has several different lead guitar parts recorded on track 7. To select a different virtual track for playback, press Stop if the song is playing. Press the Select button for track 7. Press F5 V-Track. The currently selected V-Track is 1. Use the dial to select V-Track 2. Remember, you can only change virtual tracks while the VS1680 is stopped. Press 0 and then play to hear a different lead guitar part. Press Play Display to get back to the main display. To try basic recording, we'll start off by creating a new song. Hold down Shift and press F1 Song, and then press F2. This screen allows you to select different sample rates and recording modes. For now, press F4 Execute to use the default settings. The display reads, Create New Song Sure? Press Yes. It is important to periodically save your work as you are recording and working on a song. This will avoid losing any recordings or edits if the power is accidentally disrupted. To save your work, hold down Shift and press 0 Store. The display reads, Store OK? Press Yes. Get into the habit of using the Store command frequently to save your work. Before we start our first recording example, let's take a look at how the VS1680's 26-channel digital mixer works. While recording, you can think of the VS1680 as having two independent digital mixers, the 10-channel input mixer and the 16-channel track mixer. The settings and fader levels of the input mixer will determine actual recording levels. For mixdown, these two mixers work side by side for a total of 26 channels. The input mixer can be used to bring additional sources into the master mix, such as outputs from a MIDI sound module. There are two ways to control the levels of these two mixers. One way is by pressing the Select button for either an input or a track, and then cursoring to the fader area. A much easier way to control levels of either inputs or tracks is to use the built-in faders. The faders can be assigned to control either the inputs or the tracks. Use the Fader Mute button to assign the faders. If TR is lit, the faders are assigned to and will mix the recorded tracks. If IN is lit, the faders are assigned to inputs and will have no effect on track levels. Keep an eye on this. Don't accidentally switch your faders over to inputs if you're trying to mix your tracks. One more thing about this before we move on. When you create a new song, the fader positions of the input mixer default to 100, which is equivalent to 0 dB. Plus, the input mix is automatically bused to the master mix. This explains why you may hear sources which are connected to inputs even though you haven't recorded a track. After you're done tracking, and if you don't plan on bringing additional sources into your song for mixdown, you may want to pull all the input faders all the way down. For our first recording example, we'll record from a dynamic microphone on input 1. Before connecting the microphone, make sure the phantom power switch is off. Avoid turning phantom power on and off while the VS1680 is powered, as it may cause a loud popping in your speakers. While talking or singing into the microphone, turn up the input sensitivity for input 1. Look for the peak light to illuminate, and then back off so it only lights occasionally. Check your input levels in the display. For recording, you should monitor your input levels post-fader. Press page once, then press F2. Press F4 post. Look for the PST indicator in the lower left corner of the levels display. Doing this will assure the levels display shows actual recorded levels to the hard drive. The default mixer settings in the VS1680 are set so that input 1 is routed to track 1, input 2 is routed to track 2, and so on. If we want to record input 1 to track 3 or input 8 on track 5, this routing is easy to set up. There are a couple of different ways to take advantage of the VS1680's flexible routing. One method is to use Easy Routing. Easy Routing provides a step-by-step method for configuring the mixer and tracks. It also allows you to set up and save your own mixer templates. Just press Easy Routing, press F4 Execute. Select the Function button for recording, mixdown, or bouncing, then answer the on-screen questions. It's that easy. For more information about using Easy Routing, check your owner's manual. Another very fast and simple way to set up the mixer is to use the track status buttons. Here's how it works. First, decide what track you want to record on. We'll record on track 3. Then, decide which physical input you'll be using. For this example, we'll use input 1. Press and hold the status button for track 3. Notice the select button for input 3 is blinking. Track 3 is already set up to record input 3. While still holding down the status button for track 3, press the select button for input 3 once. It stops blinking. Press the select button for input 1. It now blinks. Input 1 is now routed to track 3. To check your work, press and hold the status button again. The select button for input 1 blinks. This lets you know that track 3 is listening to input 1. You can have one input assigned to many different tracks. This is useful for recording quick overdubs. You may also have several different inputs all routed to one track. To begin recording, first arm the track. You can press the status button for the track you wish to record several times until it is flashing red. The status button is color-coded to show source, record, play, and mute. A faster way is to press and hold the master record button and press the status button once. It goes right into record ready. Press the master record button. Bring fader 3 up to hear track 3. Press play to begin recording.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Press stop when done. Press 0 to rewind to the beginning. Press play. When you are done recording on a track, press the status button to put the track in play mode. Let's record the exact same thing on track 4, except this time we'll punch in and out between each number. Punching in and out during recording uses disk space more economically and also makes editing much easier later on. First, I'll assign input 1 to track 4. Press and hold the select button for track 4. Press the select button for input 1. To begin recording, press and hold the master record button and press the track 4 status button once. Bring up fader 4. Press the master record button. Press play to begin recording.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Press stop when done. Press 0 to rewind to the beginning. Press play.
1,
Notice in the display,
2,
each number has its own individual
3,
block of audio.
4.
These are called phrases.
5.
If your VS1680 has two of the optional VS8F2 effect boards installed, you can use 4 different stereo effects while recording or during mixdown. These effects can be used on both your recorded tracks or on inputs while recording. Before installing the VS8F2 effect boards, make sure the VS1680 is unplugged. Then, simply remove the bottom panel and firmly press the boards in place. Make sure the corners click into place. You're done. Let's use effects for a mixdown session. There are 2 steps. First, you'll want to select the type of processor to use. Then, decide which tracks and inputs to send to the effect. For our first example, let's select Effect 1 as a reverb and assign tracks 11 and 12 to it. To select the effect, hold Shift and press F3, Effect A. Here you'll find settings for Effect 1 and Effect 2. Press F1 to select Effect 1. Press F2 to select a different preset. Use the dial to select Preset 7, Large Room. Press F4, Execute. The next step is to assign the track to the effect. To route a track to an effect, press its Select button. Press the Select button for tracks 11 and 12. Then cursor to Effect 1. Tracks can be routed to an effect as either pre-fader or post-fader. We'll use the dial to set the effect switch to post-fader. Press Play Display to get back to the playlist. Setting up effects 3 and 4 works the same way. Just hold Shift and press F4, Effect B, to select effects 3 and 4. Effects can be used as either an insert or as a send and return loop. Effects such as compressors, EQs, guitar amp simulators, and the mic simulators are normally used as inserts. Effects such as reverbs, delays, chorus, and others are typically used in a loop. All 26 channels of the VS1680's mixer can be routed to an effect set as a send and return loop. For example, you could have up to 26 different channels routed to the same reverb with different send levels on each channel. On the other hand, an effect set as insert can only be used on one input or track at a time. Now let's try using effects while recording. We'll record a guitar on track 8 dry, without any effects or processing. The guitar player wants to hear the guitar processed by one of the guitar effects in the VS1680 as he's playing. We'll plug the guitar into the dedicated guitar input. First, set up Effect 1 as a guitar multi-effect. Hold Shift and press F3, Effect A. Press F1, Effect 1. Press F2, Select. Use the dial to select Preset 88, Guitar Multi-1. Press F4, Execute. Now, let's assign the effect as an insert on track 8. Press the Select button for track 8. Notice there are 2 different areas for effects. The Effects Insert area is for using an effect as an insert. The Effect 1 area at the bottom is for using an effect as a send and return loop. Cursor down to the Effects Insert box. Press Enter. Use the dial to select Effect 1 as Insert. Now you're ready to record as usual. Hold the Master Record button and press the Status button for track 8. Press the Master Record button. Press play to begin recording. Press stop, 0 return, and press play. As long as you play the track with the effect still inserted, you'll hear the effect. Don't let this fool you into thinking you've recorded the track with the effect. As soon as you turn the effect off, you'll hear the dry guitar. This is a great way to record, as it allows you to decide which processor to use after the recording has been made. What if you want the effect to become a permanent part of the track, so that after recording, the effect processor can be used on a different track? This is called recording wet, which means recording with an effect. To record a track wet, simply assign the effect to the input instead of to the track. Our guitar is plugged into input 8, so to print the guitar track wet, the effect must be assigned on input 8 as an insert. Before you can assign the effect to input 8, you must take it off track 8. Press the select button for track 8. Cursor down to the effects insert box. Press enter. Use the dial to select effect 1 to off. Now we'll put effect 1 on input 8 as an insert. Press the select button for input 8. Cursor down to the effects insert box. Press enter. Use the dial to select effect 1 to insert. Now you're ready to record. Press the master record button. Press play to begin recording. Press stop when you're done, 0 return, and press play. When you're done with the effect on input 8, don't forget to turn it off. Use the dial to select effect 1 to off. Here's an important note. Many of the effects available in the VS1680 are stereo. To record the effect in stereo, it must be recorded onto 2 tracks. The easiest way to do this is to turn the stereo link on for both the input and the track. Press the select button for input 8. Cursor to link. Use the dial to turn this on. Press the select button for track 8. Cursor to link. Use the dial to turn it on. Now, tracks 7 and 8 are grouped as a stereo pair. Remember, if you want to print an insert effect, assign it to the input. If you want to just monitor an insert effect while recording, assign it to the track. Let's now discuss using loop effects, such as reverbs, which are traditionally set up as a send and return loop rather than an insert. You can monitor effects while recording, but not actually print the effect. To do so, assign the effect to the track as post fader. For this example, we'll use effect 3 as a reverb. First, set up effect 3 as a reverb. Hold Shift and press F4, effect B. Press F1, effect 3. Press F2, select. Use the dial to select preset 5, vocal room. Press F4, execute. Next, route track 3 to the effect. Press the select button for track 3. Cursor down to the effect 3 box. Use the dial to select effect 3 to post. You may also change the effect's send level here.
Ooh, I like the way you move. I like the way you groove when you move with me.
Even though you will hear the effect while recording, the track will be printed dry. For our last recording example, we'll show you how to use loop effects while recording, where the effect is recorded as a permanent part of the track. To record a loop type effect, you'll need to put the effect on the input and then decide on what track you want the effect's return to record. Since the output of the effect processors are stereo, you'll get the best results recording them onto one of the stereo tracks. For this example, we'll record the microphone on input 1 with a reverb. We'll combine the dry signal and the effect's return onto one of the stereo tracks. First, we'll set up effect 2 as a vocal effect. Hold Shift and press F3, Effect A. Press F4, Effect 2. Press F2, Select. Use the dial to select preset 33, Rock Vocal. Press F4, Execute. Next, route Input 1 to Effect 2. Press the Select button for Input 1. Cursor down to the Effect 2 box. Use the dial to select Effect 2 to Post. You may also change the Effect Send level. We want the stereo tracks 9 and 10 to record both Input 1 and Effects 2 Return. Press and hold the Status button for tracks 9 and 10. Both Input 1 and Input 2 Select buttons are blinking. Press Input 2 Select button once so that it does not blink. Press Effect 2 Select button once. Stereo track 9 and 10 is now listening to both Input 1 and Effect 2 Return. But there's still one more thing we need to do. Since Input 1 is a mono source and we're recording it to a stereo track, we need to set the panning for Input 1 to center. Press the Select button for Input 1. Cursor over to the Pan section. Use the dial to change the panning to 0 for center. To begin recording, simply arm the track, press the Master Record button, and press play.
Sometimes I feel like walking in the rain.
As soon as you are done recording, take the effect return off the track. If an effect return is assigned to a track, you won't hear the effect unless that track happens to be in source or record status. Hold the Status button for the track. Press the Select button for each effect assigned to the track. Two very important things to remember when using effects. 1. If you route a track or an input to an effect as an insert, that effect cannot be used on any other tracks or inputs. Secondly, if you've routed an effect return to a track in order to print the effect, you won't hear it. You must take the effect return off the track in order for it to come back into the stereo mix. Bouncing tracks in the VS1680 is very simple. Just decide what tracks you want to bounce and where you want to bounce them. For this example, I'll use the demo song Seems So Right. Since I've turned off Song Protect, I can make new recordings in this song. For this example, I'll bounce tracks 3 through 16 onto tracks 1 and 2. Tracks 3 through 16 are the source tracks. Tracks 1 and 2 are the destination tracks. Since we want the bounce to be in stereo, we will first link tracks 1 and 2. Press the Select button for track 1. Cursor to the Link box. Use the dial to turn Link on. I'll also select 2 unused V-tracks to bounce onto. Cursor to the V-track box. Use the dial to select V-track 16. Also, make sure you don't have any EQ or effects set up on your destination tracks. Now, we'll set up the destination tracks so they are recording the source tracks. To do this, press and hold the Status button for the destination track, and then press the Select button for each of the source tracks. Hold the Status button for track 1. Press the Select buttons for tracks 3 through 16, and also any effect returns you want to use. Don't forget to use Shift when selecting effect returns 3 and 4. While bouncing tracks, it's a good idea to set your meters to pre-fader track levels. Press Page. Press F1. Look for Pre in the lower left of the levels display. If it says Post, press F4 once. Bring up the faders for tracks 1 and 2. This will allow you to hear the bounce as it's being recorded. Hold the Master Record button and press the Status button for track 1. Press the Master Record button. Press Play. Any EQ, effects, Panning and fader levels on tracks 3 through 16 will affect the bounce. Press stop. Pull all the faders down for tracks 3 through 16. Press play to hear your bounced tracks. One of the most powerful tools available in the VS1680 is its non-destructive editing. We'll show you a few quick examples of how to use editing. Since the VS1680 also has 999 levels of undo, you can experiment with editing your material without risk. The VS1680 offers two different methods for editing. These are called track editing and phrase editing. Every time you start and stop recording, the VS1680 creates a block of audio in the display. These blocks are called phrases. If you put a track into record at the very beginning of a song, press play and record all the way to the end, you will have one phrase. On the other hand, if you punch in and punch out of record, you will end up with many different phrases, one for each punch in and punch out. In a track edit, you must tell the VS1680 where the start and end points are for a section of audio you wish to edit. Phrase editing works best when you punched in and out frequently while recording. The start and end points of a section of audio are already defined by each punch in and punch out. The VS1680 calculates the start and end points as defined by the edges of the phrase. In many cases, phrase editing can be a huge time saver. All editing functions, except for cut and erase, have 4 parameters: start, end, from, and to. In track editing, you must define all 4 points. In phrase editing, the start and end points are defined as the edges of the phrase. The from and to points in either a track or a phrase edit allow you to do backtime editing. For cut and erase, you only need to specify the start and end points. There are 2 steps to successful editing on the VS1680. First, determining the edit points, and then simply going through the button presses. For our first editing example, we'll go back to the recording we made earlier. I'll use the track cut command to cut out the spoken numbers between 3 and 8. The fastest way to set up edit points is to place locators on the fly. Use locator 1 to indicate where you'd like to start cutting, and locator 2 to mark the end of the cut. Press play. Press locator 1 on the fly after the word 3. Press locator 2 on the fly after the word 7.
7.
Then
8.
press stop. Once you've set up your edit points as locators, going through the button presses is the easy part. Hold Shift and press F2 track. Press F6 cut. Press locator 1, hold Shift and locator 1. This loads the value of locator 1 as the start point. Then press locator 2. Hold Shift and locator 2. This loads the value of locator 2 as the end point. Press the status button for track 3. Press F4, execute, and press F6, exit, to exit the track cut menu. Let's hear our edited track.
1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
For our next editing example, we'll do a track erase. We'll erase a section of audio using locators placed during playback as our edit start and end points. We'll erase the word to from our audio. First, clear the locators. We'll use these locators over for our next edit. Hold down clear and press locator 1, and then press locator 2. At the end of the word 1, press locator 1. At the end of the word 2, press locator 2. Press 0, press play.
1, 2, 3.
Press stop. Press page so you see the word erase above F2. press F2, erase. Press locator 1, hold Shift and locator 1. This loads the value of locator 1 as the start point. Press locator 2. Then hold Shift and press locator 2. This loads the value of locator 2 as the end point. Track 3 is still selected as the track to be edited. Press F4, execute. Press F6, exit. Press play display to get back to the playlist. Let's hear the track.
1, 3, 8, 9, 10.
One more quick editing example. This time we'll use phrase editing to delete a phrase. Remember the recording I made on track 4 where I punched in and out to get phrases? Let's delete the word 7. Since it is already isolated as a phrase, this type of edit is simple to do. First, cursor down to track 4. Press Next to select the 7th phrase. Hold Shift and press F2, Track. Press F1 to select Phrase Editing. Press F6 to select Phrase Delete. Press the Select button for track 4. Press F4, Execute. That's it. In the previous editing examples, we used locators to indicate edit points. This is a fast and easy way to edit dialogue. For looping music beds and other music edits, you'll need to find an edit point with much more precision. To achieve precise location of edit points, you'll need to become familiar with the following tools: the waveform display, the preview section, and the scrub button. Let's go back to the first editing example we did. Except this time, we want to find the edit point more precisely. Press play. Place a locator on the fly. Press stop. Go back to the locator. It helps to view the built-in waveform display. Press F5, wave, to bring up the waveform. Press F1 or F2 to make the waveform taller or shorter. Press F3 or F4 to time zoom in or out. Press F5 wave again to turn off the waveform display. The preview buttons provide another way to check edit points. Press the Preview To button to hear a short portion of audio just before the edit point. Press the Preview From button to hear a short portion of audio just after the edit point. The Preview Through button plays a portion of audio through the edit point. The Scrub feature on the VS1680 offers another way to find edit points. Before using Scrub, you must do two things first. First, set the dial increments. Second, set the scrub direction. Use the left and right cursor buttons to set the dial increments. Press the left cursor button until the first two zeros are underlined. Notice the dial has clicks when you turn it. Each click of the dial will advance by 1 hour increments. This might be great for jumping ahead on the playlist very quickly, but is not so much use for editing. Press the right cursor once. Now the minutes value is underlined. With the dial increment set to minutes, each click will advance the play position by exactly 1 minute. Press the right cursor until the last pair of numbers just after the small f are underlined. These are subframes. Each click advances by 11/100ths of a frame. Now try the same thing, but this time press and hold Shift as you slowly turn the dial. Now each click moves the edit line by exactly 1/100th of a frame. That's the same as 1/3000th of a second. For scrubbing, you might want to start with the dial set for frames. Then, as you need a finer resolution, switch over to subframes. When using the scrub function in the VS1680, it is possible to scrub both forward and backward. That is, you can turn the dial either clockwise or counterclockwise to find an edit point. If you are trying to find the beginning of a note or a kick drum, You will most likely be turning the dial clockwise. If you are editing dialogue and need to find the end of a spoken word, for example, the end of the following sentence, "Get up and jump," you would most likely locate just past the word jump and scrub backwards or counterclockwise until you begin to hear the P sound, which indicates the end of the word jump. If you do dialogue editing, radio or TV spots, you may use the counterclockwise method of scrubbing more frequently than someone editing music tracks. Whenever you use the scrub function, you must program the VS1680 in advance for either clockwise scrubbing or counterclockwise scrubbing. Here's how to do it. For clockwise scrubbing, simply press the Preview To button once before pressing Scrub. For counterclockwise scrubbing, press the Preview From button once before pressing Scrub. About 90% of the time when I use Scrub to find an edit, I'm scrubbing forward into the beginning of a note. Thus, I automatically press the Preview To button once before pressing Scrub. In conclusion, before using Scrub, just remember to do two things. First, press the right-hand cursor so that either frames or subframes is underlined in the time display. Then press the Preview To button once to set the scrub direction. Use the up and down cursor buttons to determine which track is being scrubbed. Hand in hand with editing is the undo command. Editing in the VS1680 is non-destructive. The undo command provides 999 levels of undo. Since the VS1680 has a built-in clock and calendar, every recording and every edit you perform is automatically time and date stamped. If you press undo, you can use the dial to decide how many edits or how far back in time you want to go. Press undo. Use the dial to select undo level 5. Press yes. You can always redo the last undo. Hold down Shift and press undo. The display reads, "Cancel the last undo." Press yes. Like everything you've done so far, don't forget to save your work. Hold Shift and press 0. The display reads, "Store OK." Press yes. The demo songs are a great way to learn the VS1680, but at some point you may wish to erase them to free up disk space. Hold down Shift and press F1 Song. Press Page. The erase function appears above F6. Press F6, Erase. Use the dial to select the song you want to erase. Press F3 Mark to select it. If you marked a protected song, the display will read, "The song is protected," but you are marking it to erase. Are you sure? Press Yes. Press F4, Execute. The display will read, "Song Erase." All selected song data will be erased. Are you sure? Press Yes. When you are done working with the VS1680, you must perform the shutdown command before turning off the power. This will assure your recorded material will be saved properly. Hold down Shift and press Stop. The display reads, "Shut down, eject." Press Yes. The display now reads, "Store current." The VS1680 will always ask you this, even if you just did the store command 10 seconds ago. If you wish to save any changes you've made to this song since the last time you used the store command, press Yes. If you press No, any new recordings or edits you made will be lost. Wait several seconds until the display reads, "Power off, restart." It is then safe to turn the power off. Do this every time you turn off the VS1680. In this video, we've shown you the most basic operations of the Roland VS1680. For detailed information about the many other features of the VS1680, please refer to the Quick Start Guide and Owner's Manual.